Everything about interviewing is nerve-wracking. I mean, you're being sized up, and that can even make the most confident person feel insecure. The thing about interviewing that makes all of us feel easy is the fact that you just don't know what they're going to ask, right? So in this video, we're going to help you understand the most common types of interviews, and second, the best ways to prepare for them. The net effect? You walk in that next interview fully confident that you can crush whatever is thrown your way. So let's tackle the 3 most common types of interview styles from our industry: behavioral, situational, and conversational. So behavioral interviews are focused on how you behave on the job. The idea behind this line of interviewing is that past performance will predict future performance. Behavioral interview questions are fairly easy to spot, as they can be grouped into a few lead-ins. For example, tell me about a time when, how do you X, describe a situation when. Obviously, these can go any number of ways, but when you hear an interview leading in with an opening like this, you know that they are trying to uncover the behavior beneath the action. For example, tell me about a time when you faced adversity, which, by the way, is a really great interview question and one that is asked very, very frequently. For a question like this, and really any behavioral question using a response style commonly referred to as STAR, you can be sure to nail it. STAR is an acronym for situation. Set the scene. Give the necessary details for your example. The next is task. Describe what your responsibility was in that situation. Next is action. Explain exactly what steps you took to address it. And finally, the result. Share what outcomes were achieved by your actions. For behavioral interviews, the key takeaway is to be specific, and following the STAR approach will ensure you cover your bases. Hiring managers are looking for transparency. They already know you're not perfect, and they don't want you to pretend like you are. So be honest. Talk about your past mistakes and failures. But remember this, don't end there. Talk about the result, meaning what you did and what you learned. How did that shape you, and how did it shape the business you have now? Another kind is situational interviews. Situational interviews are quite similar to behavioral interviews. The difference is behavioral interview questions are focused on the past, and situational questions are focused on the future. In a situational interview, the interviewer poses a hypothetical situation, and the candidate is expected to explain how he or she will handle the situation. Example questions are, how would you handle it if a boss or a team member did not respond well to an idea you had? What would you do if after working hard on a project, the goals were unexpectedly changed? What would you do if someone on your team was not abiding by my company mission or vision? How would you collaborate with a coworker who is difficult to work with? What would you do if your supervisor and you were on opposite sides of an argument? Situational questions can be tricky because there's no golden path on how to respond. While using the traditional STAR format would seem out of place here, modifying it into a future hypothetical tense totally worked for me. For example, the interviewer asked me, how would you handle a situation where you're in an account in a common area and one of your competitors has accidentally left behind the price sheet on the lounge table? Responding to that question could be something like this. I've been in a similar situation before where XYZ, and here's how I handled it, ABC. See what I mean? Now, the last interview style we see is the tried and true conversational approach, which is just a positive spin on what is often called an unstructured interview. An unstructured or informal interview refers to an interview concept without any set format, in which questions are not predetermined. The lack of structure enables the interviewer to ask open-ended questions in any order. This type of interview process resembles an open-minded, informal, friendly conversation. Prepping for this type of interview is pretty self-explanatory, but there are a few pitfalls to be conscious of avoiding in this lax style of interview. First, prepare. Be sure to approach preparing for a casual interview with the same thoroughness and preparation you would in a more formal and traditional job interview. Extensively research the company, Prepare to discuss your goals, your previous accomplishments, and be able to cite examples. Have an answer for how you fit with the company you're looking for. Second, watch what you say. Because of the casual, informal nature of these interviews, it's easy for candidates to speak too freely. Remember that the interviewer will still take careful note of what you say and do. Keep things on a professional level and avoid saying anything negative about your former employers, your supervisors, or coworkers. The third, don't forget to close. When you allow yourself to get too comfortable, you're more susceptible to forgetting the basic interview 101. Be sure to close the interviewer to move forward in the interview process. And always, yes, always, send a thank you note promptly after the interview. I promise you that developing a firm understanding of different interview styles and a strong preparation for these type of questions will arm you with an impenetrable shield of confidence to ace any interview. Now go knock 'em dead.